Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. So today we are going to focus on the February paper pumpkin kit. So this particular paper pumpkin kit is springtime themed. So I have just a lot of different ideas that I want to share with you. Actually have 10 different alternate card designs that you can create using this month's kit. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to walk you through just a couple of them and give you some tips on how to cut up your supplies that came in this month's kit. And then I'll show you all the different card ideas that I have. So welcome, everybody. So this is the paper pumpkin kit that I am going to be playing with today. And it's really a pretty kit. It's very beautiful. I love springtime. I love all the different colors here in this kit. The kit actually came with all the supplies to create 6 cards. So you have your standard size cards and then kind of like a slimline card. And then you have these little treat containers that you can create as well. So I'm going to show you 10 different alternate designs or some different ways that you can use the supplies in the kit to create some additional cards. So good morning. Good morning, everybody. So these are the cards that I'm going to walk you through. And I'm just going to show you actually, let's get these out of the way here. I'm just going to show you the supplies because this time I didn't cut up all my supplies just so that I could show you exactly what I do. So in these paper pumpkin kits, you get a card base and you get some coordinating envelopes. And what I do to create my alternate designs is I typically cut up the card base. So this is just a regular card base, but the thing about this card base is it has a design on both sides. So I usually cut it right in half and then I use the paper to create different cards. Like this first card here has the paper or this card base downside. So that's what I do. I take the kit and sometimes I create a couple of the projects out of the kit, but the majority of the time I simply cut apart the envelopes and the card bases. And this is the other card base that came in this kit. So on one side it has this cute little bunny scene. And then on the other side, it has this pink gingham. So I just cut it right down the center here. And then I used these pieces to create additional cards. So I just kind of wanted to show you how I do that. And I'll just quickly show you how I cut apart the envelope so that I can use this paper here in my card making. So basically what I do is I just cut off the edge. So I cut off each edge so that I can open up the envelope. So that's kind of like the folded edge on the side. So that enables me to open up the envelope and then I can just cut this however I want. So now I have this big piece of envelope. This is the envelope. So now I have this big piece here that I can cut up and use as designer paper to create more cards. All right, so that is what I did to create all the cards that I'm going to share with you today. So I cut all the card bases and I cut up all the envelopes, the coordinating envelopes that came in the kit to create these cards. So this first card is actually this card. So it's the card that was on that long card base. It's the focal point that was on that long card base. So I'm going to show you some tips on what I did with this particular card. So of course, when you cut up the card bases in the kit, you need to supply a card base then. So I'm using all the card bases as paper. So I just have a piece of white cardstock for the base of my card. And then the first card base that I cut up was that pretty floral one. And this piece, let's see, is about 1 3/4. It's about 1 3/4 inches wide. And then it's about 5.5 inches long. And so I'm just using that to create background for my card. You have a hard time cutting up the envelopes? I know. I like I like decorative envelopes, but I like the paper or the design that's on the envelopes, so I like to cut them up. But you don't have to cut them up. You can make the kit just as it is. All right, so let's get this on here. I can get it on straight. So that's just going to go on the right side of the card. And then these little pieces were pieces that came in the kit. So instead of creating my focal point here on this card base, I just created a different background. That's all I did. So I'm just going to put this on the card. So we'll add this little focal point right here. And then with this little wreath of flowers, I actually cut it apart. I know I cut everything apart. So I just cut it right here off these little daisies because when I add this little greeting, it ends up covering up part of the flowers anyways. So I just cut them off so that I could use them again for something, and I'll show you how I use them. But we'll just cut this off right here. So I'm just cutting this little piece off so that I have, two different flowers here. And this piece I saved, and I'll show you what I created with that. So we're going to just pop this up. Let me get some dimensionals on here. I think I better use the smaller ones. So again, you don't have to create alternate designs. You can create the kit just as it is. I'm going to add my greeting first. So let's do that. So we'll just add this right underneath there. And then we'll add our little wreath above it. So I really just used the same focal point, just made a couple modifications. And then we'll just tuck this right under here. And that's the card. So it's pretty simple. And then I used some leftover pieces, some little scrap pieces on the inside. So this is just 3/4 inches wide. It's 5.5 inches long. And we'll just put that on the inside just to kind of decorate up the inside. And then in the kit, there were these little white dot elements here, the little embellishments. So I just used 3 of them. I just added a large one in the middle and then 2 smaller ones on each side just to kind of decorate the bottom here of this card. And that is the first alternate card design. So cute. All right. So that is the first one. Let's get this out of the way here. And so actually, if you do exactly what I did, you can actually create these 3 alternatives. And then you still have some leftover floral paper from your card base to create additional cards. All right, so the second one that I want to show you, so in this kit, there is a big frame like this. And at first, when I saw this frame, I thought this was grass, but it's actually, I think, the little stems for the flowers. So you can create the card as is, which I kind of did here. And I say kind of because I added that this piece. I simply cut this off and just added it to a white card base so that I could use that other part of the card for something else. So I just kind of created it as it is. I didn't add all the flowers on the bottom, but that's what the original card sort of looks like. I say sort of. So what I did here is I actually cut this down. So I just cut this off, cut this little frame off, and then I cut in between here and just kind of trimmed this out. So I'm just gonna cut some of this. So I trimmed right along the grass or stems, whatever this is supposed to represent. And I just got to trim a little bit of this white off. Should have had my glasses on. And then in here, we'll just snip this off. And we'll cut this off. So there's not too much cutting because we're going to use the rest of it the way it is. So, all right, so just cut that off. And then what I did is I adhered it to, let's see, this is a 4-inch long piece and it's 3/4 inches wide. So this is 4 and then 3/4 inches wide. So I just adhered it behind this piece. And that's how I created this little focal point here. So let's add some glue if it comes out. So this kind of reminded me of the Timeless Arrangements bundle. So we'll add that to our little focal point. And we'll get some dimensionals on there. So just an alternate way that you can use those little frames that came in the kit. So we'll put that to the side. And then what I did with this particular card is I actually used a new embossing folder. So you can kind of see the floral design. So there are some new online exclusives that will be coming out in March. And it's a pack of 2 embossing folders. And these are the patterns that are on the embossing folders. So I use the floral one to create this background. So it's not your normal size embossing folder. So it only embosses, part of the card front. But that's all I wanted. So that's okay. So I just embossed the top part of this card front. Let's see if I can smooth this out a minute. And then I just started adding some of the different pieces from the envelope, from cutting apart the envelope and from cutting apart the card base. So this is the envelope. This is that green gingham. So it's about 1/4. Let's see, 1 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. So I'll just put that on the bottom here. And then we'll add our little focal point that we created, this little piece. We'll add this right about here. And then some of the other elements in the kit, the little bunny and the little flowers, these are all little pieces that came in the kit. So I'll just pop those up. We'll add those and create our little scene. Let's get one here. I'm just putting dimensionals on all of these things here. All right, so we'll tuck this little guy right here. And then we'll add our little flowers, and I just added them to the different little stems. So if it's supposed to be grass, I turned it into little stems. All right, so that's the basic design for that. And then I just cut a 2 1/2 by 3/4 inch piece of white cardstock. And in the kit, there was a little Early Espresso ink spot, so I'm just using my Early Espresso ink. And we'll stamp a little greeting on here. And I thought I'd do the springtime greetings for, I think I did that for most of these cards. Did a couple Easter. And then this is just gonna go right on the bottom here. So I need a couple dimensionals. on the bottom of this piece. We'll use the little ones. And then I'll add some glue and we'll add this. So that will just get popped up right about there. And then the last thing I did is just embellished it with a couple of the little dots that came in this kit. So we'll add one there, and then we'll add one over here. Probably could have centered it more. And then on the inside, I just used up some scraps of the envelope. So again, this is just a little scrap piece and a little scrap piece of one of the card bases. So I think this one's one of my favorites. I think this is really cute. All right, so that is the second card idea that I wanted to share with you. Let's go back here. Whoops. Put that in there. And then this last one that I wanted to share actually features, well, it features the either the envelope or the card base. You know, you can use either paper in the background here. It also features the Love of Spring die set. So let me show you what I got here. So this is the stamp set that came in this month's Paper Pumpkin Kit. These are all the images. And then these are the Love of Spring dies. So I actually used this label die to create my center piece here, the focal point. And then I used this die to create the flower. So I'm going to show you what I did with that. And again, I started with the embossed card base. So this is just white cardstock embossed with that embossing folder that I shared. And then to create the focal point, I cut a 2 by 3 3/4 inch piece of, I think this is the envelope. You can use the envelope or the card base. And then this one I just cut 1/8 of an inch larger. So it's 2 1/8 by 3 7/8. See, Linda Anderson, one of my team members, is the one that got me started on the 1/8 of an inch stuff. Because I used to cut it 1/4 inch. Now I'm cutting some of my stuff at 1/8. All right, so this is the focal point here. So we'll just go ahead and adhere this right to the card front. Now those Love of Spring dies coordinate with this month's kit. You can also use them with last month's kit, and you'll be able to use them with the March kit. So I think that's pretty neat that we're able to use all, you know, the dies with all of these kits. So I'm just going to prep my stuff here. I have another 2 1/2 by 3/4 inch piece of white cardstock for my greeting. So it's the same size as the one I just did. And then what I did with this particular card, just move that out of the way, is I die cut the green. So this is Granny Apple Green. I die cut the flower out of Granny Apple Green. And then I just die cut the top part of the flower out of Petal Pink. And I'm just going to snip this extra piece of the stem off. And what we're going to do is just adhere this pink piece right to the green one. So it's the exact same die shape. It's just I don't want a green flower. I just want the stem green. So we'll scoot that on there. And now we have our little flower. So we can add that. Let's add it to our little shape, our little white shape. So I die cut that label too, using that Love of Spring dies. Oh, the glue doesn't, there we go. The glue didn't want to come out. So we'll add the flower right to that. And then we'll add this little piece behind our greeting. So this little piece is just a 1/4 inch wide and it's 3 inches long. So I just wanted a little bit of color coming out from behind the greeting. And then we'll pop this up on the card. So that's really all I did. And you can, you if you have these dies, you can make this any color you want. You can use any paper you want in the background. I just made it pink because I had the pink paper in the background. So we'll add that in the center. And then we'll add our greeting across the bottom. Oop. Oh, well, let's grab the dimensional instead of the paper. All right. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. And then we'll put this up here. All right, so that is the design. And then, of course, I'll just add a couple of these little dots right here. And that's that one. All right, so that is the third design. And then what I did I do anything on the inside? I think I just added a little bit of designer paper on the inside. So that is that design. And just since I have this one out, I also created this design. So this really just uses those dies, the Love of Spring dies. And then I used some of the pattern papers, envelopes, and card bases in the background. So those are the first two designs. Well, I showed you all three actually. And then here are some other card ideas. So this one I showed you already. That's that card base. But you can also use the card base differently. So instead of using it in the portrait style, you can cut it down to 4 1/4 inches this way and use it in landscape style. So that's what I did with that. And this one you saw already. This is that cute little bunny. But here are some other designs, and I'll get these all out on the blog for you, but I had a lot of fun with this kit. I created 10 different layouts with the different supplies in the kit. Cute little bunny. So here's where I used that piece. Remember I cut off this piece from the wreath. So I just cut off these little daisies on the top, and then I just used that piece right here to decorate this card. And then here's another design. And I think this might be the last one. This is the other design. So I had a lot of fun with this kit. I still have lots more cards to make because I have a lot of supplies that are left. So I hope you guys enjoyed just a look into this kit and some of the different things that you can do with it. If you haven't already put your kit together, you can create a lot of different cards with the supplies in the kit and by simply adding your own supplies. So basically, the majority of the supplies that I added had to do with card bases. So I added white card bases, used some embossing folders to add a little texture. And then I used a little bit of scrap pieces of cardstock that I had on hand. So all right, you guys. So I'll get up on the blog for you later today with all the measurements, and you'll be able to recreate any of these if you wanted to do that. I think that's all I had for you guys. So in the description with this video, I think I provided some links to Paper Pumpkin. If you're not a subscriber, I highly recommend it because this kit is no longer available. So after the 10th of every month, the kit gets sent out to all the subscribers. So the only thing that would be available would be refills of the kit, and those typically don't last very long. So I highly recommend becoming a subscriber. I do provide alternative ideas for you just some different ways that you can use the kit. I do that every month, so that you can get some different ideas and some fun ways for using this kit. So, all right, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a great week, and I will see you guys all again next week. So take care, everybody.